Next Can I stand on this side and do it?
As you see from the
This is next.
slide, she is immensely and multifariously talented. So I don't want to get into all that. But what really surprised me is that Hemali was an excellent student, but then she got lost for a long time. Obviously, because she had responsibilities. And she would come recently appear in our programs at symposia. But in the last year, she has taken up supervision of the hybrid course. And I have not attended any of the sessions, but whatever reports that I received, she has been a very, very active participant. And that is why when there was a choice that we had of having the fourth person, I approached her. And it was amazing that I spoke to her on one evening saying that there is a need and are you prepared? And the next evening she called me up with a list of cases that she wanted to discuss. And the cases were not ordinary cases, as you will see. And the theme that evolved was also not ordinary, as you will see. So I don't want to come in between Hemali and you. Yes. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am the last batsman standing, and I am supposed to play a quick over. I have been threatened to do so. I feel threatened to do so. So, done. This is mine. This one? Okay. So I am presenting cases that I have failed. And I want to take you on a journey with me to understand where I failed, why I failed, and what have I done to make it right. I'm presenting 3 cases of different age groups. One is a young girl with an autoimmune disorder and an evolving totality. The second is a middle-aged girl with a lot of psychological drama in her family. And third is a senior citizen, and it is one-of-a-kind case. So let me start with the first case. The objectives are tracking the clinical, pathological, and miasmatic correlations during follow-ups, limitations of prescribing deep-acting remedies in the pediatric age groups, learning the complexities of managing homeopathic practice across different countries, use of discrimination in a distant review and result evaluation, evolutionary understanding of the disease as well as the person to know the simillimum, impact of first image patterns on the totality and the prescription, and a disciplined case review along the standardized lines. Now, this family has been consulting me for many years now. The older brother was under my treatment, the mother has been under my treatment, and this girl, 7 years old, comes to me with complaints of just hard stools. A very happy and a bright child, very curious, debates about things, talks about calories, and she had this peculiar symptom of aversion to tight clothes around her abdomen. And she was relieved with Lycopodium 30 within a month's time, I think couple of doses. Now she connects back after a year later after the second episode of colitis, which has been worse than her previous episode because of the bleeding stools. And the doctors there have asked her to go for a battery of investigations. Now it is not like India ki aaj prescription diya and evening the results are out. It takes a long time and everybody is in queue. So she was in queue. So meanwhile, I just started her with Lyco 30 on weekly doses. Now, a month later, her calprotectin levels are available. They are in the range of 2000. She's been advised steroids, but the mother refuses to give her the steroids. Colonoscopy was planned, so I said, let's wait for the reports to come out. Meanwhile, continue Lycopodium. Now, a month later, you see that despite being on Lyco, her calprotectins have doubled. Her colonoscopy reports are out. There are ulcers all throughout the colon. So now this is what I was going through. Now I need to find out whether LICO still covers all other symptoms of the remedy or no, of the patient or no. So I take more data over the phone. It's not a video call, it's just a phone call. And I find out that she's still curious, she's still mentally very active, and she has started becoming fault finding. She's resisting going to school because she has to put in a lot of efforts of writing. She don't wants to compete, but I don't want to put efforts. She had developed anxiety for health because of the reports that she was going through. A very disciplined and a reliable child. Now, at this point of time, I just want to say that what I processed was whether LICO is fitting the case or no, rather than understanding whether the case fits the LICO or no. Okay? So I obviously start her with LICO 200, thinking 30 ne kaam nahi kiya, chalo let's go to 200 and then 1M. And that's how I move on. I also gave a dose of sulfur considering the complementary relation with lycopodium. She was on placebo for good 2-3 months, and she was asked to repeat her tests, her calprotectin levels. But that was a challenge because the mother has to go visit a doctor, take a prescription, and the doctors are going to question, your levels have been 4,000, have you started steroids? And she has to answer all that. So she has been avoiding doing that, thinking what if they are high and what if they force me? So that data was not there with me. Now what happens after a couple of months of being on SL? She comes up with new data. Mother is saying she's crying constantly over smallest of the reasons, checking her heart rate, using the oximeter again and again, washing her hands again and again, and she has developed white spots and her thermals have started changing. This was another place where I had to think and take the complete totality into consideration, but what I did was this. Just keep the remedy relationship in mind, pick up a very convenient symptom that points to calcarea, and I prescribe calcarea. Now the follow-ups. Of course, what calcarea has done, hand washing has gone down, her palpitations have reduced, her calprotectin is available to us, which is way below 300. So I feel I'm on a right track, let me continue. Again, the doubts, a new symptom comes up, I don't pay attention to that. What happens next? After 2 months, another acute abdomen, and she develops patches of alopecia. You see her calprotectin is climbing up, crossing 500. This is where I actually wake up thinking and asking myself, what have I done? I am questioning my actions now. Why has the autoimmune expressing itself in another sector? Why are the calprotectin levels going up? And why is she not even settling down mentally? So what has calcarea, LICO, what has all these things done? And first of all, why did I choose them? So I collect all the data from the beginning and put it on an EET. And you see the early small box, the blue box, that was LICO that I saw early, which was in a very psoric phase. She just had hard stools. And you see the travel of miasm into the psychotic mind where she has traits of OCD and the tubercular expressions of the disease that are coming up. So there is a shift in the miasm, there is a shift in the in the central column, which I did not pay attention to. But after this, I repertorized. Again, intercontinental problems, transferring medicines immediately is not possible. She had celiac, so I started her with 200 doses, and I wanted to give her 50 millisomil actually. So that was given later. Within 3 months, her alopecia regrew. She has mentally stabilized down, and her calprotectins have again started climbing down from above 500 to nearing 300. So by now, I've put her on celiac 0/3 TDS. Couple of months later, she again develops a new patch. This is where I introduced tuberculinum. Again, I wanted to give 50 millisomil, not available, so I started her with just 1M. Gradually, 0/3 was also given. This is a recent follow-up. June, she's still under care. The alopecia patches have started seeing the hair growth. The black dots have started coming up. She's going through some anxiety, but stools are normal. It's just her anxiety that needs to be taken care of. She's still under process. So what is my learning here? Picking up early changes in the evolution that comes. And when the treatment is going on for a long time, you do need a review if the clinical state, the miasmatic state, and the pathological states are not matching, and if they are progressing. Yes, lack of investigations do pose a problem, and that's if you want to practice intercontinental, you have to deal with it. And prescriptions can be based on patchy materia medica images that can derail. Like if I would have given her 1.5 years back, she wouldn't have been in this state, the alopecia wouldn't have come up, I could have aborted the whole thing. But that derail has occurred. Case 2, she's a lady, as I said, in her earlies, demonstrating the tendency of an unaware mind to become a victim of prejudice. Learning the value of standardized documentation and processing to overcome this, understanding the depth of psychopathology in the family and learning to manage them overseas, and realizing the benefit of the similimum in face of the overwhelming odds. She was defined in December 2016, and she has been having gastritis since many years, since probably her childhood days. She's a special educator, but married a husband who has just passed his 12th standard. She also had complaints of headache, migraines, which started after her delivery. She also went through postpartum depression because she was threatened her son will be taken away. She was on psychiatric medicines and the psychiatrist has also withdrew, so currently there are no evidences of this. Now what happens? I take the case and I don't enter the data. Yeah, and she comes saying that status quo. So what do? I go back to my memory and find out what was that patient, and I just randomly know she was crying and she was timid, so I give her Calcarea cow. Couple of months later, she's still not better. Luckily, I had the interview recorded, so I could revisit it and write the entire life space. And while writing, so I realized that I have missed out a lot of other sensitive areas in this patient. So that called for processing the entire case. A very disturbed childhood, father, mother not getting along. Father had affairs. He would beat up the mother. She would have broken bones. She would be bleeding. And this patient used to cling to the mother and started getting scared of father, though she loved him. She also started developing bitterness for him because the cousin narrated that he has witnessed a sexual relationship with another aunt. So that has produced a lot of disappointment and shock in her, and she has an ambivalent relation with her father. Luckily or unluckily, she married the wrong man. Just a 12th standard pass who wanted to go to Australia based on a dependent visa of hers. And soon after marriage, they were processing the papers, and she goes through a lot of frustration and brooding because he's not available, he's partying all the time. He was threatening to divorce, and he also got her job quit. Of course, a year later, they are in Australia. His behavior has not improved, it has always worsened. He expected that she should serve drinks and also satisfy his friends if needed. She used to be threatened so much that she would run out of the house, lock herself in the car, and sit there till the husband sleeps off in the night. It could be 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, anytime in the morning. Cry, 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 cry all the time. She realized she's stuck and she feels she's made a big mistake. She conceives despite this, and the husband did not want this, but she still managed. This was a little relief for the last 3 months of pregnancy when she was in India. But again, post-delivery, she, as I said earlier, went through a postpartum depression because the in-laws would call and say that I'm going to take your son away. Husband is not available. He was there for a couple of 4 weeks or so post-delivery, and then he left for Australia, for which he didn't have the money, and he made the patient sell her jewelry so that the tickets can be bought. See the level of disappointment, rejection. I had missed completely all these aspects, and I only thought of timidity कि कुछ कर नहीं रही है और पूरा time रो रही है. So this is my final ET that I create. There were a lot of modalities and qualified mentals, so I also repertorized the case simultaneously. But however, I could see 2 different blocks. This is what I saw in this patient, And that's how I came to natrum silicator. This is after reviewing and processing the case. I gave her natrum sil 200 every week. Within a month's time, she would come and carry medicines for a month. Okay, so within a month's time, she was no headaches, hardly one episode of mild headache. Gastritis has improved. Generally, she's feeling very relaxed. I repeated one more dose for a month. After that, she's been on SL for I think 5, 6, 7 months. This is the time she asks me, "Doctor, what do you think? Should I go back to my husband? Australia जाऊं कि नहीं जाऊं?" I told her it's not my decision to make. But as a physician, you also guide your patient saying that take a decision whose consequences you're willing to face. That was the only thing I told her. And you see that she actually goes. She gets everything done. Her paperwork's done for the son. The son is 3 years old by now. And now I knew that husband's behavior is not going to change. So while she was leaving, I gave her this piece of advice that please, you must connect with the police or the social service people there for your husband's behavior, so you will get some. But she was really threatened by him, and she said, "No, you don't know, he'll just throttle my neck. I may not be able to do that." After 3 months, again, as expected, she had carried some natrum sil as an SOS with her. So she came back saying because of husband's behavior, her complaints are worsening. I started her again, and within a month's time, she was again better. Now, she reports to me again after 5.5 years for herself, but in between, she has been in touch with me for her son who's been coming. She came up with sudden panics and palpitations. Now, when the case, she told me all this on the phone that she had an affair for one night with her husband's friend, and she's now feeling extremely guilty about it. Oh my God, what have I done, and what if I get caught now? I gave her natrum silicata 1M. She settled, but then I also asked her to go see a therapist because she needs her guilt, her childhood conflicts to be resolved. So either she sees a therapist or she also sees a marriage counselor, and they, when they realize the husband's behavior, might be able to provide the required support. As I said, she was in touch with me for her son, so I realized that she has started sessions. And I think in Australia, they have some around 8, 9, 10 sessions which are free or in that insurance package. So she has already started to, and they're working on her childhood issues. And she hasn't come back for herself because she's not working anymore and she had to take money from her husband. So she said, "I don't want that." So my learning in this case, please don't depend on memory to prescribe. Record your cases as early and process them as early as possible. Yes, you are limited in certain cases, but you can always guide the patient what can be done in their country. And the relief that the Similimum has given, it has definitely helped her. Of course, the long-term follow-ups are not there with me. This is case 3, an elderly young man. Demonstrating the role of a painful shock in waking a physician from a state of slumber, learning the skills and techniques to take charge to implement the standardized processes, demonstrating the standard process of review, and learning the TPD-TPR. This was a transfer case. All I had were a couple of follow-up sheets which says ameliorated sign, and he was on natrum sulf. He's visiting me for past 20 years, and he would come and he would say, "I have some problem, give me the same medicine." He'll just stand at the door and ask for a repeat. And I was very happy, simple city all. This was my state. Now this wife comes in August recently, and she said, "This man is a womanizer, he drinks." My state now. Yeah. So what has happened? Can he be natrum sulf now? I've been giving him, so frequently. So I had to wait for him to come. He comes, and I tell him that, he says the same thing, "Urticaria, give me the same medicine, it will be better." I said, "No, you need to write the history form." He's like, "No, you have to give me the same medicine." And then I have to tell him that, "See, certain data has come out from your wife's interview, and I need to understand that from your perspective. So it's necessary that you write the history." He did write the history. Not just write, he got me some extra printed, and he said, the way you have written the history form is not correct. It has to be in a tabulated form. He gave me 3, 4 extra Xeroxes, and he said, you keep this and use this for your friends. Sorry for your patience. So by now he's 78 years old, highly intellectual fellow, known case of hypertension, hypothyroid, diabetes, everything. See his childhood. Father, a freedom fighter, politically very strong and a womanizer. Mother was comparatively simple but had multiple fights because of father's behavior. This fellow would intervene and say, don't behave like this with my mother. And father would beat him up. He would run away to a lake, sit there. Beyond a point, he could not tolerate his father. And by the age of around 10, he ran away to his grandmother. That's where he completed his schooling and college. Very pampered by the grandmother. What happens in his college? We see a high sexual activity there. He's a musician, he's a singer, he's very popular, he's very attractive. So he gets a lot of girlfriends and he convinces them to have sexual intimacy. He's well read on the topic of sex. He had a strong affair with a professor older, but eventually it didn't matter. She married somewhere else. This is the patient's timeline when he marries. He marries in 76. A year later, his scholarship is coming to an end. So father says, you're married, you need to earn, come join my business. Next 10 years, he's in father's business. And during this time, a daughter and son are born. So wife is in and out of Calcutta again and again. Post 97, he started his own business. Now what happens during the 10 years of father's business? He made a lot of profits, but father would take away the money and he spent it on his women. He didn't get a free hand. Father is very controlling. So he exposes his father's secret marriage. He goes to the registrar, bribes, gets the marriage certificate done, shows it to his mother and says, you must divorce him. And he filed a court case. And father, being politically strong, was said, make an out-of-court settlement. So some 5 lakh rupees as a monetary compensation, followed by a house which was to be given to the mother. Father backs, I'm not giving the house, I'm selling it away. He forcefully goes and occupies that house. This is the time period where you see the hypertension and hypothyroid has started developing. The amount of manipulation, revengefulness. Now what happens when he leaves his father's business? Of course, he's burning the candles at both the ends again. He's known for bribing and getting his work done. His alcohol intake has worsened and he takes to prostitution at this time. And he says, it's a simple give and take. I give money, I take, I'm helping them. Yeah. Now wife finds this out after good 20-21 years later. And she's in a miserable state, and that is why the counselor comes in, a marriage counselor comes in. And the counselor says that you are oversexed, and he put him on some medicines to reduce his libido. So now he's saying, I don't need a counselor. I know it's a disease. It's not me. It's the disease that made me do this. Yeah. Now wife is struggling a lot. Where did you do it? How did you do it? When did you do it? So many questions, and this fellow is getting embarrassed with these questions. This is the time the diabetes is detected. This is my EET after putting everything together. And I start him with Nux vomica. Urticaria is gone. His alcohol has gone down. He started only drinking with his wife's presence, and that too when they are going out on tours. But his major conflict was that of embarrassment that he was facing because of the wife's questions. So this is what we spoke. You've been asking questions about his actions for some time now. Does it quench your thirst? No. Do you think at some point it may? No. So then do you think it would be okay to let it go? Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. Will you be willing to try? I can, but I'm not sure whether I can succeed. Do you drive? Yes, sometimes. So while driving, do you look through the front screen or you use the rear view mirror? And she's quiet. She was quiet for such a long time that it made me uncomfortable. Okay? And then she says that, yes, now I understand what you are saying and I'll definitely try. Now, she eventually did stop. That was a struggle also for her. It was not drastic like on day one. She went through the process. Eventually, now they've started bonding as friends and they're taking common hobby as traveling together. They both are still coming to me. So, what is the learning? Please define the case irrespective of who has defined it and how better the patient is. Maintaining a discipline in the clinic to follow a standardized case process. Handling of the patient conflict may require intervention with the family member. That was my learning. Now let me concise everything. Where did I fail? Poor documentation, erecting a partial totality, seeing the remedy symptoms and applying it to the patient and not going the other way around. Prescribing on partial correspondence, improper evaluation of the remedy response. Why? Of course, errors of judgment, because if all this is not in place, you are going to make errors. And how do I turn it right? Please follow the systematic processes and you will come to the right remedy. Thank you so much, especially to Vipin sir. I wouldn't have been a homeopath if it wasn't for him. I want to thank Naveen sir also because of the clinical training I went under him in Palghar. Kumar sir for not just mentoring but in every ways actually. And I thank my institute, MLDMHI, for creating competent homeopaths. So thank you so much.
Coming up with such kind of cases and to show that kind of courage to learn from failures.